Okay, so if everything is truly one, like really one, where does freedom actually fit in?
Right? And suddenly, Shloka 7 is throwing Advaita and Dvaita in the ring together. This gets messy fast.
Hang on just a second, Belur. We'll grab the sources and get our ducks in order. Back in a minute.
Welcome back. In our last session, we explored Shloka 6 and that powerful vision it offers, seeing all beings in the self and the self in all beings.
Right. The promise of overcoming hatred and fear through that universal vision. But it left me wondering, what happens next? What's the result of actually living in that vision?
That's the perfect question, and it leads us directly into Shloka 7. This shloka isn't about the path to the vision, it's about the state of being that arises from it. It describes what happens when that seeing becomes constant.
Okay, so it's the destination, in a way.
Exactly. The destination is freedom. The shloka poses a question that's really a statement. For one who has this realized knowledge, what then can be illusion or anxiety for him? It's a promise of complete liberation from suffering.
Wow, okay. That's a pretty big promise. Freedom from all anxiety?
It is. Let's start with the sound of it. Yasmin sarevani bhutanyat atmaiva bhudvijanataha. Tatra ko moha kashokaha ekatvam anupashataha.
It sounds beautiful. So, what are the key words we need to unlock this?
There are two pairs. The first is the problem pair, moha, which means delusion or illusion, and shoka, which is grief, sorrow, or anxiety.
So, moha is misseeing the world, and shoka is the emotional pain that comes from that misseeing.
Perfectly put. Moha is the root ignorance of separation. Shoka is the bitter fruit. And the second pair is the solution. Ekatvam, meaning oneness or unity, and anupashyataha, which is a powerful term.
How so? Doesn't it just mean seeing?
It's deeper than that. The prefix anu suggests seeing constantly, or seeing in accordance with tradition or authority. It's not a fleeting glimpse, it's a stable, continuous realization. This is the upgrade from Shloka 6. The vision has become permanent.
Oh, I see. So it's not just an intellectual idea. We are all one. It's a state of being where you constantly perceive that oneness, that ekatvam, and that state is what eliminates moha and shoka.
You've got it. But how we understand that oneness is where things get really interesting. It's the point where two of the greatest philosophical traditions in Vedanta diverge dramatically. First, let's look at it through the lens of Advaita Vedanta, the non-dual school, primarily associated with the great philosopher Shankara.
Okay, non-dualism. The idea that Atman, identical to Brahman, the ultimate reality.
Exactly. For Shankara, Shloka 7 is the ultimate statement of this truth. The ekatvam, the oneness, is one of absolute identity. It's not that you see yourself in others. It's the realization that there are no others. There is only the self, appearing as many.
Let me try to put that into an analogy. So in Shloka 6, I might be a wave, recognizing other waves are made of the same water. But in Shloka 7, I realize I'm not a wave at all. I'm the entire ocean.
That's a fantastic way to phrase it. And if you are the entire ocean, what is moha? What delusion is there? The delusion of being a separate, vulnerable wave is gone. And what is shoka? What anxiety can the ocean have about the rising and falling of its own waves? It's all just play.
The fear of disappearing, of my wave crashing on the shore, vanishes because the water just returns to itself.
It's so simple and yet so mind-bendingly huge.
It is. From the Advaita perspective, liberation isn't something you achieve, it's something you realize. You remove the ignorance, the moha, that covers the truth of your infinite nature. And when the ignorance is gone, sorrow has no ground to stand on.
So, liberation is the simple, unshakable knowledge. I am that. I am Brahman. Wow.
But now, let's put on a completely different set of glasses. Let's look at this through the eyes of Madhvacharya, the proponent of Dvaita Vedanta, or dualism.
Okay, so this is the opposite view, right? That the individual soul and the supreme being, or God, are eternally separate and distinct.
Completely. And for Madhvacharya, the idea of the soul being identical to God is the ultimate heresy. So he has to read this shloka in a very different way.
But wait, how does he deal with the word ekatvam, oneness? It seems to directly contradict his entire philosophy.
This is where the genius of these commentators comes in. For Madhvacharya, ekatvam doesn't mean oneness of identity. It means oneness in quality, or more accurately, a unity of all beings in relation to the Supreme Lord.
What does that mean, onness in quality?
Think of it this way. All living beings are seen as spiritual sparks, chitkana. They share a similar spiritual quality, just as a ray of sunshine shares the quality of light with the sun. But a single ray is never the entire sun. The unity comes from all beings being utterly dependent on and pervaded by the one Supreme Lord, whom Madhvacharya identifies with Vishnu.
Ah, okay. So in the ocean analogy, I'm not the ocean, I'm a drop of water, and I realize that all the other drops and I are unified because we all exist within the ocean and are sustained by the ocean. We're distinct, but inseparably connected to the source.
You've got it. And from this Dvaita perspective, how do moha and shoka disappear? Not because you realize I am God, but because you realize your eternal, blissful, and dependent relationship with God. Delusion ends when you see everything in its proper place, with the Supreme at the center. And anxiety ends when you place your trust in that Supreme Controller, realizing you're not alone and you're not in charge.
So, liberation here isn't merging. It's, a state of perfect relationship, a blissful communion.
Yes, it's a path of devotion, of love, of service. The soul maintains its individuality to enjoy that loving relationship with the divine for eternity. So here we are, standing at a crossroads, two profoundly different paths to freedom, both derived from the very same 7 lines of Sanskrit.
And it feels like the ultimate seeker's dilemma. One path says, realize you are everything. The other says, realize you are a part of something, in loving relationship to the whole. They seem mutually exclusive. How do you even begin to choose?
That feeling of being stuck is a very common challenge. The first mistake is to get trapped in intellectual debate, trying to prove one is right and the other wrong. The texts aren't scientific papers. They are maps to a transformed state of consciousness.
So don't just argue about which map is better. Try to actually walk?
Precisely. The real question is, which path resonates more deeply with your own inner constitution? Some people are naturally drawn to the path of knowledge, of self-inquiry, of dissolving the ego into a vast oneness. That's the Advaitic path.
The path of the philosopher, maybe.
Perhaps. Others are more devotional, more heart-centered. The idea of a personal, loving relationship with the divine is what truly moves them and inspires them. That's the Dvaitic path, the path of the bhakta, the devotee.
And is it possible that both can be true in a way, or lead to the same place?
That's a question sages have debated for centuries. A common pitfall for the Advaita path is a kind of cold intellectualism or spiritual bypassing, saying it's all one to avoid dealing with your personal issues.
A pitfall for the Dvaita path can be dogmatism or seeing other paths as inferior. The key is sincerity in your own practice.
So, the advice is to be honest with yourself about what actually helps you reduce your own moha and shoka in daily life.
Yes. Does contemplating your infinite nature calm your anxieties? Or does praying to a higher power bring you more peace? The answer is your starting point.
Let's bring this all together. We saw that Shloka 7 is the culmination of the vision in Shloka 6. It's the promise that when the vision of oneness becomes constant, delusion and sorrow fall away.
And we explored the two major interpretations of that oneness. The Advaita view, oneness as absolute identity. I am the ocean. Liberation is realizing my true nature.
Right. And the Dvaita view.
Oneness as a unified relationship to the divine. I am a drop sustained by and in loving communion with the ocean. Liberation is perfecting that relationship.
An excellent summary. The goal, regardless of the path, is freedom from the suffering caused by a sense of isolated, separate selfhood. So for your practice this week, I want you to try something very practical.
Okay, I'm ready. What is it?
When you feel a moment of shoka, anxiety, frustration, sadness, or a moment of moha, confusion, delusion, feeling lost, I want you to pause. Just take a breath. And then hold both of these maps in your mind.
Okay.
First, gently ask the Advaita question. In this moment, what if this feeling, this situation, and myself are all appearances within one boundless consciousness? Just feel into that possibility. Don't try to force it.
Okay. The I am the ocean question.
Then let that go and gently ask the Dvaita question. In this moment, how can I see the hand of the divine here? Can I offer this feeling up and trust in a loving presence that holds me?
The I am the drop question, I'm not trying to find the right answer, am I? I'm just noticing how each question feels.
That is exactly it. You are simply noticing which perspective brings a greater sense of peace, space, or release in that moment. It's not about choosing a philosophy for life. It's about using these ancient tools to navigate your inner world, right here and now.